It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity. About humanity. It's all about humanity.
What's going on, fam? It's great to be here with you guys for this special edition of Alara of Sirius and White Hat cover our 9-page disclosure. We're going to make the best of it, though, aren't we, White Hat? We're going to have a great discussion. I am so delighted and honored and happy to have one of my favorite human beings in a meat suit on this planet on with me tonight. Good evening, White Hat. How are you?
Good evening. Good evening. I'm so honored to be here as well. And yes, I am. What, a meat suit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a human meat suit.
Yep. That's me.
Yeah. So
with onions, peppers, and some tacos.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You know what I mean? I can't do it like White Hat. You have to do it, White Hat. I sound stupid.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. I can't do it. I sound lame when I try to do it. What's going on, Morning Flower? Hey, Path, Turt Mom, Debbie Roush, DK, Fearless, Path. Hi, Woke One. There's my toots. Gino. Is just Gino's name Revan or Ravon?
Revan.
Revan? Can I say how I want to say it? Gino Revan.
You can.
Okay,
there
cool.
You go.
Nat Hendy, Gary Flessner, my bodyguard, Desert Fire, Babs the Ice Queen. It's good to see you guys. Yeah, here. I hope you liked the rave song, guys. I don't know. Thought it was fitting. Thought it was cool. I hope you guys thought it was cool.
I was digging it.
Yeah, I think it was cool. Yeah, this is a different little thing we're doing tonight. Monday night, talking about disclosure and ETs and spaceships, and it's going to be a party. Hey, Miguel, good to see you. Becky. So, yeah, White Hat, how's your week been? You've been gone, huh?
Yeah, I was MIA. Took the kids somewhere in the USA just to sort of get them out and give them a break, a little breather. And but yeah, I was gone, and it was very much needed. I'm completely exhausted. I need a vacation from a vacation kind of a deal, get the cobwebs out. Mm-hmm. But that was all done earlier today at work. There's a lot going on. But I have been looking forward to tonight for a hot minute, I won't lie.
Yeah, I can't believe that I've really never. I mean, you've been on the Pink Patriot Hour, I think on Kate's channel, but I don't think you've ever been on my channel before. How weird is that?
Yeah, so I did a show one time with you and Loyal, I think or was it Loyal?
Did you?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long time ago. It's been a minute, but yeah. So I don't think it was, but it was before space news and stuff like that. Like it was before all of that, I believe. But I'm not sure.
That must have been a long time ago. We've almost been doing Space Force news for a year now, you guys.
Yeah, it was a while back. Yeah.
That's a while. Thank you, FC. Hey, all you. He says, "Hey, all you beautiful meat suits." I love that. Bunch of beautiful meat suits. I know, that's what we are. It's great. So, yeah, that must have been a long time ago because I don't even remember that. But it's great that you're here now. And what better thing to bring us together on this channel than spaceships, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we spoke about this actually on my show a while back that, you know, it's coming to a point where if you're into it or not, you've got to start taking it serious. Mm-hmm. And when you have the government come out and, you know, admit, hey, basically they're admitting to everyone all the crap for the last 50 some odd years that they've been telling us are lies. And we've kind of already knew it anyway, so it's not really a surprise. But when the government is coming out and you have Congress trying to make something happen, whatever their intentions are, whether it be money, disclosure, or whatever, you know, I mean, you got to start paying attention. And I mean, and this, you know, this is some serious business here, especially when you have, you know, you got to think that I think of one instance, you have our nuclear missile silos being shut down, you know, right before exercises and stuff like that. Like you got to take it serious.
There's some footage out there. I'm trying to remember exactly what it's from. If I could remember, I'd have it pulled up, but it's some sort of, I want to say a missile that we were shooting up there, maybe a test or something like that. You see the little spaceship come and just pew, 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 just with a laser, just literally like knocked it out. I'm trying to remember whose footage. It's kind of old footage. It's back in the days when we used to launch the rockets and stuff before Elon and all that. So back in the late 80s. But you totally see the UFO come and just pew, like takes it out. I don't know what it was or what we were doing, but clearly whatever it was, they didn't approve and they stepped in.
Yeah, I hadn't seen that, but would I be surprised at this point? No. It's like, I think that's where a lot of us are. It's like none of this is really surprising us. Now it's kind of like, hey, give us the information so we can sort through this, you know?
It kind of feels like, to me at least, it kind of feels like, or this is my impression, is that Trump kind of dumped it on their lap and they had to do something. And so they're like, you know, they're like playing hot potato with it. Like, what's the least we could put out and get funding and not have to really, really come clean about any of it because we know.
That is correct.
Right. So anyway, we are going to go through the report in detail, you guys, and try to take apart what little is there and see what we can find. But you were saying something to me about your impression is that this is just a preliminary. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I do. I think we had mentioned before as well that the feeling I got was we would get a little taste. And then I think more is going to come out in July. That's what I heard. I heard that we're going to get a little something in this first report just to kind of, you know, throw us a bone. And then more is supposed to come out in July, but, you know, that could change. But my understanding is there's more. There will be more coming.
Well, too, you brought up kind of a good point, too, that I'd like to maybe discuss for a minute, and that's the fact that, you know, it's clear, well, it will be clear once we go through the report here, that they're seeking funding. So they're essentially saying, we don't know what they are, but hey, we'll study them some more and try to figure it out if you just give us some money. So
that is exactly what they say, what they're saying. That is right.
And, you know, like you and I were discussing, I don't know what it was, a few days ago on your channel or a couple weeks ago, maybe, I don't know. You know, I think most people here are aware of the fact that I'm an experiencer and that I've had quite a few actual encounters with different sort of ships. And the one that, for those that aren't aware, the one that woke me up was one of our ships. And so when this happened, I don't know if I've ever really explained this part of it, because this part usually gets lost in the story for whatever reason. But when this ship appeared, now I used to think that it came through like a Stargate, because it went from a point of light to a ship like instantly in front of my face. So I just assumed that I didn't understand. Like, guys, I knew nothing about like any of this stuff before this happened to me. So I was just trying to understand what I saw, because it wasn't what I was told could happen, right? So this thing appeared. I've now come to understand, I think, that it decloaked is what it did. It just turned its shielding off. So I was able to see it all of a sudden. But anyways, when this happened, and I was kind of stuck on stupid, of course, like anybody would be that doesn't realize that we have spaceships like that. There was, what struck me, and White Hat and I were having a conversation about this, there was like 8 military drones that immediately came around and were watching the whole thing. So now we've been getting into these discussions about AI and quantum computers and all this stuff. And it even occurred to me at the time, I'm thinking, how did these drones know that ship was there so fast and dispatched?
That's right. Mm-hmm. That's right. They're using the AI, and they're using the increased hold on a second, my daughter's crying. What's wrong, baby? Let me mute you. Hold on.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so I'll kind of finish telling you guys a little bit about that while White Hat's dealing with his daughter. So yeah, all these drones came around immediately, and I'm thinking, how did these drones know? Well, this was back before I really knew about how the quantum computers were coming out and all this stuff was getting quantum. So it never occurred to me. And so when White Hat and I had this discussion about this recently, we were like, oh, so AI and you know what's crazy? I always kind of had an intuitive hit that was AI that dispatched those drones. I just didn't have an understanding of it, or how it worked, or how that was able to happen. But apparently these quantum computers knew immediately when that ship was in contact with me, I guess, or showing up in space-time, I don't know, and they immediately dispatched and were watching. So all this stuff is logged, you know, it's gotta be. I'm sorry, go ahead, White Hat.
No, sorry about that. I was just letting you know I was back. Sorry, my daughter was having a moment. But so the thing about it is we, the US, did not disclose that we were using quantum or AI to track these things. The Chinese did. Chinese came out and said, well, and the thing is you know, in the cyber world, they actually are ahead of us, a few steps ahead of us in terms of quantum computing and AI at the moment for this quantum supremacy right now. They're pretty much ahead of the game. So it's for them to come out and say, hey, you know what, you know how we're tracking this, you know how we know where they're at. Well, we have we have this program that we can pretty much tell you where they're going to be. We know where they are. You know, it brings us to a point. If we're talking about U.S. government, it brings the U.S. government or the military to a point. Okay, now the game has changed a little bit. We can't just hide this stuff anymore, because now the world has the capability to push the envelope and to be able to look at these things almost as good as we can. So. Right. Then we were talking about the disclosure. Okay, let's start disclosing some of this. And you know, it's the same MO. Think about it for a second. They did that crap with the whole weather balloon thing. Oh, well, you know, it's a weather balloon and all this other stuff and all these different excuses they came out with, just to, you know, sort of, you know, and then they come out and say, well, we don't really know what it is. Here's this report, you know, of course, and then you nailed it on the head there. You know, hey, you know what? This would be a really easy opportunity to pull some taxpayer money to fund some programs and to get purge some money out of the budget. Let's just give them some bullcrap report and then say, hey, we can tell you more, but you're gonna have to pay us more money. You know, to me it sounds completely government. That you know, like this is completely what they would do.
It sounds like straight up like, I don't want to deal with this here. Like, write whatever least you can write to just satisfy the directive that we have to put something out and be done with it. Like
Oh
it,
yeah. So whoever wrote this was sitting at home in their pajamas.
pretty much.
They're teleworking.
Yep.
Because they're, I guarantee you somebody was tasked, hey yo, put this together. And it's probably, quite possibly a contractor. They're like, hey, put this together. Do you want me to use like Word? Yeah, just use Word. Just put it on there, put some bullet points, put some lines on it, make it look cool. And then we'll shoot it up and then, put the seal on it, and then we'll be good to go. I mean, I'm guessing that's probably what we're saying.
Thank you, Patriot Bird, for the cookie. Yeah, it's I don't know. Should we go ahead and jump into the report, and kind of go through?
Hey, we're already 15 minutes in.
All right.
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. Let's see if I can keep you up on the screen. Yeah, that'll work. Okay, so here's the report, you guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. Our little 9-page report here. All right, so scope and assumptions. The preliminary report is. Oh, let me move my mic, man. This is going to be some serious reading. No, it's not. It's only 9 pages. They're not even full pages.
Yeah, well, you would think it would be. I mean, you can actually skim through a lot of this stuff because a lot of it is fluff.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is. And I guarantee you what they did, I bet you they copy and pasted it from another SOP or something that they had somewhere.
Okay, so this preliminary report is provided by the Office of the Director of National Intelligence in response to the provision in Senate Report 1116-233, accompanying the Intelligence Authorization Act for fiscal year 2021, that the DNI in consolation. Thanks, Whiteout.
Consultation.
Oh, you get Foyle's job tonight. Lucky you. Consultation with the Secretary of Defense is to submit an intelligence asset of the threat posed by unidentified aerial phenomenon, UAPs, and the progress the Department of Defense Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force has made in understanding this threat. Again,
we'll take turns.
Okay. Okay, you want the next paragraph? Or are we going to do like
sure.
grade school?
Look,
cool.
Yeah, we'll take turns. Yep, grade school.
Okay.
I'm raising my hand here.
All right.
This report, I'm going to say it in my game show host voice.
You have the sexier voice too, so
all right, let's do it.
Roll with it. Okay.
This report provides an overview for policymakers of the challenges associated with characterizing the potential threat posed by UAP, while also providing a means to develop relevant processes, policies, technologies, and training for the U.S. military and other U.S. government personnel if and when they encounter UAP, run-on sentence, so as to enhance the intelligence community's ability to understand the threat. The director of is the accountable
Get
official.
The inflection when you say threat. Okay. The threats.
No, you're fine.
Yeah.
The threats.
The threats. There you go.
Threats.
Yeah, get all thrash metal. There you go. Okay, go ahead.
Understanding the threat.
Yes. Right.
The director is the accountable official for ensuring the timely collection and consolidation of data on UAP. The data set described in this report is currently limited, unfortunately, primarily to U.S. government reporting of incidents occurring from November 2004 to March 2021. And that's because, well, we've been lying to you ever since before 2004. So it's all good. Data continues to be collected and analyzed.
Oh, am I trading off? Okay. ODNI prepared this report for the Congressional Intelligence and Armed Services Committee. UAPTF and the ODNI National Intelligence Manager for Aviation drafted this report with input from USDI, DIA, FBI, NRO, NGA, NSA, Air Force, Army, Navy, ONI, DARPA, FAA, NOAA, NGA, ODNI, NM, Emerging and Disruptive Technology, ODNI, National Counterintelligence and Security Center. Well, that sounds official. And ODNI, National Intelligence Council. All right, assumptions. Various forms of sensors. Various forms of sensors that register UAP generally operate correctly and capture enough real data to allow initial assessments, but some UAP may be attributable to sensor abnormalities.
Anomalies.
Whoops.
So in other words, they're saying, that's a setup. So, they're like, you know what, we may not have the right sensors, you know what I'm saying? So what do we need you to do is we need you to send more money. We need more money to create these sensors so we can get all these think tanks and put them together at MIT.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. So we're doing the executive summary. We skip it. Well, actually, if we skipped it, then that might be half the damn report. All right.
Yeah.
Somebody said that I think Gino said my volume was low. Can y'all hear me okay? Am I a little low? Do I need to put the microphone closer to my mouth?
You don't sound low to me, but try it on your end. See if you can make it better. If not, I can try to bump you up here on my end. But you should be good.
All right, we'll keep rolling.
Okay.
All right, executive. Oh, better now. Okay. Executive summary. The limited amount of high quality reporting on UAP hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of UAP. I mean, even if they crash in our backyard and we have them, that's still not enough.
Right.
The Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force considered a range of information on UAP described in U.S. military and IC reporting, but because the reporting lacked sufficient specificity, ultimately recognized that a unique, tailored reporting process was required to provide sufficient data for analysis of UAP events. Bullet 1. As a result, the UAPTF concentrated its review on reports that occurred between 2004 and 2021, the majority of which are a result of this new tailored process to better capture events through formalized reporting. Most of the UAP reported probably to do, wait, what did it say? Most of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects.
Probably do.
Yeah, they maybe.
We still aren't even sure about that, huh?
No, we're not sure.
Okay.
Listen, wait, think about this for a second.
Probably.
So this is an interesting, so this is something, the kind of thing that we need to catch. Now this is to me, this is an Easter egg. This is a CYA right here. Most of the unidentified aerial phenomenon were probably physical objects, right?
But it could be just a sense. It could be just a sensor abnormality or anomaly. Could be a sensor abnormality.
Maybe.
Well, that's what they're saying. That was the previous sentence. Yeah.
Or they don't know, because maybe they can't. Maybe there's an instance of interdimensional travel that they can't.
So they could be physical objects sometimes, and then sometimes not physical objects. That could be.
Think about it. So if we're like, let me, for example, is a ghost considered a physical object?
When it's phased in, yeah. But it's not always phased in.
But a ghost is in between, possibly third and fourth. So
right.
Do we consider that a physical object, or how do we describe that? So if there's something out there, now I may be overanalyzing this, but just in case, this may be a CYA. They're saying probably. This is a government document, and they're saying the word probably. There's a reason why they use that word. That is a CYA word to me.
So
all right,
probably. Exactly. And there's been two of those statements so far. There was something about the sensors a minute ago, and then that. So most of the UAP reported probably do represent physical objects, given that a majority of the UAP were registered across multiple sensors. And now they list the sensors: radar, infrared, electro-optical, weapon seekers, and visual observation. So now we know what our multiple sensors are.
And what they're telling you is there are instances where they can't tell whether or not it's physical or not.
Right, which means they're transdimensional. Which means they could phase out of 3D is basically what it means. Or at least most of them can.
And see, so a lot of people believe, and back when I used to do ghost hunting and stuff like that, my theory is that the reason why you see only parts of a ghost or a spirit is because it's in between dimensions. But that was just a theory of mine. So let's put that, I don't mean to go on about this, but maybe we'll just bookmark that part for later. But go ahead if you want to.
I wish I could highlight it. Okay, I can't quite read
in a limited number of incidents.
Interesting as you, but I'll give it a shot. In a limited number of incidents, UAP reportedly appeared to exhibit unusual flight characteristics. These observations could be the result of sensor errors, spoofing, or observer misperception and require additional rigorous analysis. That's a loaded sentence. So even when we have it, it doesn't necessarily mean we have it, because it could be spoofing, sensor errors, or observer misperception.
Right. So what basically, I think in that sentence, they're leaving themselves open to false positives. I mean, that's likely. So, all right. So there are probably,
Okay.
There are probably multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations based on the range of appearances and behaviors described in the available reporting. Now, does that make more sense, what I was talking about before with that sentence? Think about it. I'll read that again. There are probably They're saying that because they don't want to be held accountable. They're saying that because they don't want to be this. They don't want this to be a fraudulent document. They have to cover their own backsides.
Yeah.
There are probably multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations based on the range of appearances and behaviors described in the available reporting. Our analysis of the data supports the construct that if and when individual UAP incidents are resolved, they will fall into one of 5 potential explanatory categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomenon, USG or US industry developmental programs, foreign adversary systems, and a catch-all other bin. So there's an other bin because they don't know how to describe it.
Other is multidimensional beings or aliens, essentially.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, or both, whatever they are.
They're doing a lot of CYA here.
Yeah, a lot of it. There's a lot of setup for that in here. UAP clearly pose a safety of flight issue and may pose a challenge to U.S. national security. May pose a challenge. If they have technology this advanced, that only may pose a challenge to national security? Well,
Unless they already know their intention.
Why? Either they already know their intention, or we already have the same level of technology. So it's not really. It doesn't pose a tremendous threat to us anymore.
Yeah.
So maybe. I mean, that's what I get from that. Safety concerns primarily center on aviators contending with an increasingly cluttered air domain. UAP, right? With all those satellites, it's got to be cluttered up there. UAP would also represent a national security challenge if they are foreign adversary collection platforms or provide evidence a potential adversary has developed either a breakthrough or disruptive technology.
Yeah, so which we know that's not true. Now, the disruptive technology would be like EMP type crap, that like if the Chinese were trying to do any kind of EMP type stuff, but that's bullcrap. We know that the Chinese and the Russians don't have this.
Right.
We know they don't. And what I'm saying is not reflective of the U.S. government at all, by the way. All right, so let's see.
Even what's his name? You know, the disclosure dude that's out. They put him out there on the news all the time. What's his name? Elizondo. Even he's made that much of a statement. Like, even Ratcliffe has said that. If you
their aerospace engineer that was on their team came out and said, and I quote, "There is no way that a human can be inside any of these UAPs, nor could it be our computer systems, which would be quantum computers, because they get damaged. They would get damaged with the G-forces." So he said that and this is the aerospace engineer on the same team. There is no possible way there that it would be one of us. And the Chinese don't have it, and neither do the Russians, according to him. No way. So whatever on that paragraph. I don't know why that was thrown in there. Consistent consolidation of reports from across the federal government, standardized reporting, increased collection and analysis, and a streamlined process for screening all such reports against a broad range of relevant USG data will allow for a more sophisticated analysis of UAP that is likely to deepen our understanding. And here's the sentence we were talking about earlier. Some of these steps are resource intensive and would require additional investment.
There it is. Write that check.
There you go.
Yep. We need money to tell you what they are. And even then, we're still not going to know. I don't know. Maybe they'll, if they really wanted to come with some truth, like any truth, they would just disclose Roswell. There you go. That's the one mainstream case everybody knows about. Everybody knows something happened. Everybody knows, and that would be the one thing they could declassify that would show up, at least like positive
I would
intent.
bet money they don't do that. I would bet money they would not. They're at this 2004 year that they're putting in this report. I bet money they're not going to disclose anything before that, because then they'd have to admit that they were lying. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. I will eat crow if they do.
They have to start disclosing this technology at some point. This lie cannot go on forever.
But they're like, show me the money, and we'll go and do it for you.
Yeah, they're
show me
the money. I don't know what their plan is here. And I really think too, if this had happened and Trump was still in office, we would have got a whole different disclosure than we're getting right now. I think largely the reason that we're getting this nothing burger is because of who's in office right now.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Let me do this real quick. Yeah, I mean that's a lot of it, but I'm Rubio. God, I couldn't think of his name.
Marco Rubio.
This pretty much came from his desk to ODNI. But originally he had put this in a bill, appropriations bill, I believe. And so it was kind of thrown in with, a lot of other things. Do I believe that Biden would, this is so over Biden's head. I don't think this would.
No, I mean his handlers, White Hat, not Biden.
Oh, excuse me. You mean Susan Rice? Susan Rice, no. I don't see any of this coming out right now. They're too worried about being woke. They're too worried about, this big red wave that's coming in 22. And then I think 22 is just going to be investigation time. I mean, I don't know. It's ultimately, I think, going to be up to the military. Or Space Force. I think if Space Force would take responsibility of this and take it away from ODNI, I think they would really help us out. It would really help us out. But hell, they're over there firing people for saying, hey, y'all are being a little Marxist. So they're like, I mean, I don't know what's going on over there.
Mm-mm.
But for me, man, if the Space Force would pick this up and let us know something and let them be the ones to disclose it, it makes too much sense. But whatever,
Yeah, J Bell says she doesn't agree. Not much stuff was released under Trump. I mean, she's got a point there. Like, I was hoping he'd decloak a ship or something, but that never happened.
I don't think they told him. I honestly don't. Think of everything they kept from him and the different ways they were trying to manipulate him. They would have never told him that stuff.
Yeah, they would. But if Eshed's telling the truth in his story, he's saying that Trump knew, but that the Federation told him they need to learn what space and spaceships are. But how are the people supposed to learn what space and spaceships are if you don't start to declassify some stuff and tell them, or decloak one of ours or something? Like, how are people ever supposed to learn about?
Right, and that's what we talked about before the show. Is like who's going to be the ones that tells us about this? Space Force would be, to me, a good idea, but I don't know. Like, who do you
So-
think would be the ones to do it?
Space Force, if you're listening by chance, I will be at ECETI in July. Feel free to decloak a ship. There'll be lots of cameras around, be lots of people that won't freak out and run. So, feel free. Just saying. All right, so where were we? Available reporting largely inconclusive. Limited data leaves, right? Wah, wah, wah. Limited data leaves most UAP. I can't stand saying that word either, UAP. It's so, I don't know, it just has a bad connotation. Limited data and inconsistency in reporting are key challenges to evaluating UAP. No standardized reporting mechanism existed until the Navy established one in March 2019. The Air Force subsequently adopted that mechanism in November of 2020, but it remains limited to USG reporting. The UAPTF regularly heard anecdotally during its research about other observations that occurred, but which were never captured in formal or informal reporting by those observers.
Yeah, I don't believe that. I don't believe that paragraph.
This is just such game.
So you're going to tell me after the Navy just came out and said, hey, you know what? We've been seeing these almost like every week for the last 20 years. And you're going to tell me that there was never any standardized reporting up until 2019. So, okay, let's look at this for what it is.
No, they intimidated people and wouldn't let them report, right? Like, you literally couldn't. That's what I heard. Like, the FAA.
No, I'm saying in a classified setting.
Oh.
In a classified setting, they had to have been keeping this somewhere in a standardized setting. And so I'm trying to read through read past the lines here. So let's look at the timing of this. So they're saying March of 2019. They started. When did they talked about the report, or they Rubio put it out when 2020, it was around, what was it, November 2020?
The request for this? It was November December.
Something like that. December. Okay. So I'm just trying to put the timeline here. So then it says the Air Force then adopted the mechanism in 2020.
Yeah.
November of 2020. All right. So what it almost tells me is that all of this public stuff they're giving us this month and this year is political theater to me. They had to come up with a timeline that made sense, that they could tell everybody, so it looked like they had been working on this.
Right.
Which I don't think is true. I don't think it's true. Sorry, I'm just dissecting.
No, that's what we're here to do, is dissect every line of this.
Yeah, I used to be in policy and for the government, and one of the things I used to do is write SOPs for the government. So that's the reason why I can critique this crap, and I get pissed off when they say stupid stuff like probably. You don't put probably in something like this. No, you don't. After carefully considering this information, the UAPTF focused on reports that involved UAP largely witnessed firsthand by military aviators, and that were collected from systems we consider to be reliable. These reports described incidents that occurred between, of course, 2004 and 2021, because they're not going to tell you anything before then, with the majority coming in the last 2 years as the new reporting mechanism became better known to the military aviation community. Okay, so what? They started using Excel spreadsheet? Give me a break. We were able to identify one reported UAP with high confidence. In that case, we identified the object as a large deflating balloon. The others remain unexplained, though. 144 reports originated from USG sources. Of these, 80 reports involved observation with multiple sensors. Most reports described UAP as objects that interrupted pre-planned training or other military activity, which shows you intelligence.
Right. Or, I mean,
So look at what they did. They talked about a stupid one of the things they debunked as being a deflating balloon, or they made it up, and they and then they say, we're talking about 144 reports. That's the scope that they're giving us right now.
this is all game.
144.
This is all, you're talking about a worldwide phenomenon where there's video evidence, there's witness testimony, there's whistleblower testimony, a ton of it. And this is the best y'all can do? We looked at stuff from 2004 to 2021, and we looked at a whole 144 reports only coming from military personnel above military locations. What?
Yep. And so look at what they're saying here. Most of the described UAPs, so that means that a majority of the 144 they're telling you about happened during and interrupted. It interrupted a pre-planned training or other military exercise, much like maybe a missile silo, being fired up just to kind of, we've heard about that. They shut them down. So they're telling you right now, Alara, 144 reports, most of them the majority of them were objects that were interrupting training or other military activity. That's a lot.
That means that these people, these ships, whatever, these other persons are watching our military, obviously, intently, and have yet to act in a hostile fashion. Right?
That's right.
So what does that tell us about the watchers? The ones that watch?
Yeah, well, they are intelligent. They, either they are purposely being placed there in order to monitor, they're gathering intelligence, or they're non-threatening.
They're non-threatening, and they're regulating when they see that they need to regulate. That's what it appears to me. Yeah.
Well, see, I'm almost like, let's see, and then this pink part right here was written by a different person. This was sent in an email, and then they put this in here.
They copied it.
They copied it and put it in here.
And made it pink.
Yep. This was a what's the word for it? This is more like this feels
insert?
Like it's definitely an insert, but it almost feels like a psychologist comment.
You want to read it, or do I? Who's
Go ahead.
Okay.
Or it's up to you. I can read it. Whatever. You can read it.
UAP collection challenges, sociocultural stigmas, and sensor limitations remain obstacles to collecting data on UAP. Although some technical challenges, such as how to appropriately filter out radar clutter to ensure safety of flight for military and civilian aircraft, are long-standing in the aviation community, while others are unique to the UAP problem set. Narratives from aviators in the operational community and analysts from the military and IC describe disparagement associated with observing UAP, reporting it, or attempting to discuss it with colleagues. Although the effects of these stigmas have lessened as senior members of the scientific, policy, military, and intelligence communities engage on the topic seriously in public, reputational risk may keep many observers silent, complicating scientific pursuit of the topic. The sensors mounted on U.S. military platforms are typically designed to fulfill specific missions. As a result, those sensors are not generally suited for identifying UAP. The sensors mounted on U.S. military platforms are typically designed to fulfill specific missions. As a result, those sensors are not generally suited for identifying UAP. Okay? Sensor vantage points and the number of sensors concurrently observing an object play substantial roles in distinguishing UAP from known objects and determining whether a UAP demonstrates breakthrough aerospace capabilities. Optical sensors have the benefit of providing some insight into relative size, shape, and structure. Radio frequency sensors provide more accurate velocity and range information.
Okay, I retract what I said. Oh, so not a counselor or a psychologist, but this was definitely sitting in here. So I'm trying to pull it out here. I mean, I get it. Okay, they're just talking about, hey, different sensors do different crap, and when they're specifically doing a mission, okay. I mean, I get it. Okay, I get it.
Okay.
All right. So, but some potential patterns do emerge. Although there was wide variability in the reports, and the data set is currently too limited to allow for detailed trend or pattern analysis, there was some clustering of UAP observations regarding shape, size, and particularly propulsion. Mark that one. UAP sightings also tend to cluster around U.S. training and testing grounds, but we assess that this may result from a collection bias as a result of focused attention, greater numbers of latest generation sensors operating in those areas, unit expectations, and guidance to report anomalies. Okay.
1 second, White Hat. Miracle Girlie said, she gave us some shades. Thank you, Miracle Girlie. She said, it's hard work making 9 pages of nothing seem interesting. Great job. Thanks, Miracle Girlie. We're trying to make it entertaining.
Well, but you know, and we make fun of this document a little bit, but I'm telling you, a lot of this is just CYA. And we talked about this before. If this report has a slither, we're going to find our way through that, and we're going to open it up, and there's going to be more questions. I got to talk about this paragraph.
Okay, hit it.
Not just because I read it, but so, okay. So they're saying that they have observations, particularly about their propulsion. That's a red flag for me. That to me means they know something or have seen something regarding their propulsion, or they understand it.
Or lack thereof of visible propulsion. I mean, they could have worded it like that, but didn't. Yeah.
So they're saying that the sightings that they have are just, they're saying that the reason why they have so many around these sites are just because they feel like, well, in this report, they're only pulling information from military. So, you know, that's a no duh kind of a thing. But, so focused attention, and they have updated their sensors in those areas in order to find these UAPs. You see that?
Yeah. Latest generation sensors. And I've seen articles in Space Force News about these sensors too, that they're upgrading left and right.
And that's probably got to do with the AI. They probably have a way to do it. And but go ahead.
I think the part in the pink part about the radio frequency sensors provide more accurate velocity and range information. I don't know why. I just think that's notable.
I mean, and that's probably true. I mean, they could probably, they know how fast these things are going. I bet you, I'm sure they do. Now, visually, it's like, man, let me tell you, we have satellites that can read a tattoo off your arm from space.
Right.
I mean, give me a break. You know, but whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Handful of UAP appear to demonstrate advanced technology. In 18 incidents described in 21 reports, observers reported unusual UAP movement patterns or flight characteristics. You think? And how come only 18 incidents? Some UAP appeared to remain stationary in winds aloft, move against the wind, maneuver abruptly, or move at a considerable speed without discernible means of propulsion. In a small number of cases, military aircraft systems processed radio frequency energy associated with the UAP sightings.
What do you mean they processed it?
I don't know, but I need to write something down. Radio. I'm just going to do a dig into this because there's something there. I just can't. There's something.
Yeah, so this radio frequency is, according to this report, is they're actually able to use it. So radio frequency sensors provide a more accurate velocity and range information. Then they come down here and say, military aircraft system processed RF energy associated with UAP sightings.
RF energy.
They processed it, so it was giving off radio frequencies?
And then they processed it. It's just interesting wording, right? It's worth I don't know, it's worth kind of looking some things up. The UAPTF holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration or a degree of signature management. What's signature management?
It's got to be that there's some sort of RF energy they're talking about. They're able to collect it somehow. It's giving off some sort of radio frequency.
There's a frequency. These ships have a frequency that's distinguishable.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
That makes sense.
And they can pick up that frequency without even seeing that,
radio,
without seeing
you guys,
them physically, right? Maybe?
If that's radio, you guys, you can make something to pick that crap up in your backyard with an antenna. Interesting.
I feel a dig coming on. Like I got time for that right now. But I'm captivated here. I got to learn more about that topic because there's something there. There's definitely something there.
I mean, they're telling you right there. They're the sensors. They have updated the sensors for radio frequency collection and identification, and also they're telling you here military aircraft systems processed the RF energy associated with the sightings.
Processed through the computer, quantum computer, the drones. The drones, White Hat. It's the drones picking it up, and it's being processed through the quantum computer. That's what they're talking about.
That would be my guess. Yeah.
Okay, so the UAPTF holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration and degree of signature management, right? That's another one. What is signature management? Hold on.
So let's
management of that. Okay, but I think there's more. I got to write that down.
Yeah. So basically, like if you had your sensor out there, and then something came and then disappeared super fast. Hold on a second. I wonder.
Texas Q Patriot, thank you for the shades. Break open this piece of crap. I'm going to say crap. Report. Great job, White Hat and Alara. Thank you. And thank you, Nat Handy, for the cookie. Thank you, Graham Sutherland, for the super chat. Love your work, Alara, in lockdown and OZ. So able to watch your live stream. Just a good Aussie guy with a Scottish accent. Long story. Keep up the good work and consistency to truth and great information. We'll check out White Hat. Thanks, guys, for your support. Appreciate it very much. All right. Well,
so here, let's let this bake your noodle for a second.
Let's bake it.
So what if the radio frequency isn't post-sighting? What if they're figuring out that's where it's going to be?
Oh, that would be why the drones were there the instant it was there. They already knew it was going to appear right there, or they already knew it was there.
So when there's a spot where a specific radio frequency energy pings these sensors, they know where to go. That's a possibility.
Oh, I think that's it.
Because how else would the Chinese be able to send them that fast? They'd have to have some sort of indication beforehand, right?
KS2A says Gifted Accounting says signature management equals cloaking. I mean,
possibility.
Signature management. That does make sense. Cloaking.
So if they're using radio frequency, or they're using a cloaking technology that is putting off a radio frequency that would be how they would be able to detect them for sure if it's putting off anything. I'm reference. So think about it like this: if anybody watches Marvel movies or anything like that, like you have the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah.
How they were able to find him would be gamma signatures,
Right.
or I mean, the robot, whatever his name was, and there was some gamma signatures and this something other, but it's the same concept. If you have sensors all over the place that's detecting this radio frequency, maybe the cloaking is, maybe they're, whatever the, whether it's cloaked or not, it's putting out this radio frequency. Or if they're going to jump to a spot, that frequency radio, a specific radio frequency shows up in that spot. I don't know.
I'm trying to remember because the memory is being pulled, but time was just so not normal at that point. But I want to say, I really wish I could remember how immediately those things showed up, because look, if it had to, it's important, if it had to decloak in order for them to know it was there, or if it didn't have to decloak for them to know it was there, like they already knew it was going to appear there, or maybe they could see it there before I could physically see it and it decloaked.
Right. That it could have just been already there, and then whatever cloaking device they're using puts off a radio frequency, and so they know to get there, and so then it decloaks after, because I don't know, maybe the UAP at that point is like, oh, okay, what the hell, I don't know.
Stack says, so what's the magic frequency? That's what I'd like to know. What's the UFO frequency, so we can start looking?
So let me ask you this: if we're talking about propulsion, if I remember the Bob Lazar explanation of how they move gravity, and how they how some of this stuff works, like levitation and stuff like that, it's all about magnets and different poles and propulsion and that sort of thing. I mean, does that give off a radio frequency? And if it's in a range, could we then have something makeshift to create our own? I don't know.
I have a friend who's a TI, and it's been a long time since I've talked about her story or listened to it, but she talks about how they were able to track. She had some scientist that was able, this is how she was able to get a raw file on what was happening to her. She's one of the few people that was able to do that, and actually get sauce on what was happening to her. Anyway, I guess they were able to track the frequency. I guess these people can track the frequency of everything, and they're able to figure stuff out just based off the frequency signature of it. So that's how they were able to figure stuff out with her. So I would imagine it's the same thing with the ships,
that technology kind of makes sense, because to me, and of course, so when I used to do when we talked about it before, I bring up the ghost stuff. When I used to do the ghost hunting, I created a ghost box.
Yeah.
And basically what you do is you pull the guts out of a radio and you make it to where it doesn't stop on radio stations. It just cycles through constantly. And then what happens is the spirits would talk, and it would speak through the radio, and you could hear them talk. And you know that it wasn't bullcrap, because if it were a radio station, you'd only hear a small slither of what they're saying, because it's going so fast through all the frequencies.
Yeah.
So what happens is they speak through just the, whatever radio frequency that's being put out, they would be able to speak through that. So as the rat is going around and, in the spinner there in my head.
Yeah. How do they do that?
I wonder if there's some way that they're putting off this radio frequency, and then we're like, all right, we know it's there. All we have to do is put a sensor out that scans, constantly is scanning these frequencies
for that frequency. Yeah.
And then or when it could just be running the entire thing, and then when something specific happens, it pings the sensor, and then they know it's there. That I'm kind of getting in the weeds with it, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot to digest there, and we talked about this beforehand, that the radio frequency thing in here was a little interesting. We would need to stop and talk about that, so I'm glad that we're doing it. Let me just read this next one here.
Yeah.
Where are we at the UAP probability lack, blah, blah, blah?
I think associated with military. I think I read right after the 18 incidents, the next paragraph. I think we're on the next one down from that.
Okay. Do you want to just read that one, then I'll
Yeah,
go to the next
sure.
paragraph? Go ahead.
Sure. The UAPTF holds a small amount of data that appear to show UAP demonstrating acceleration or a degree of signature management. Additional rigorous analysis are necessary by multiple teams or groups of technical experts to determine the nature and validity of these data. We are conducting further analysis to determine if breakthrough technologies were demonstrated.
So AOC in the chat, that's a good point. AOC says subsonic frequencies that are generated in the King's Chamber of the Great Pyramids are 1.2 hertz, 2.8 hertz, and 5.6 hertz. So are there, I wonder if there's different stuff like that with these pyramids that are putting these radio frequencies out. I wonder if there's some sort of relation. That's definitely a rabbit hole, man. Good grief. All right. UAP probably lack a single explanation. The UAP documented in this limited data set, no crap, demonstrate an array of aerial behaviors reinforcing the possibility there are multiple types of UAP requiring different explanations. Our analysis of the data supports the construct that if and when an individual UAP incidents are resolved, they will fall into one of the 5 potential categories: airborne clutter, natural atmospheric phenomenon, USG or industrial development programs, foreign adversary systems, and a catch-all other bin, with the exception of the one instance where we determined that it was a balloon. We currently lack sufficient information in our data set to attribute incidents to specific explanations. So what that tells me is they not all of them are traceable. Not all of them. Well, it says it there that most of them they were able to see. Okay, here it goes.
And they need funding to build their data set is clearly what they said at the bottom.
Yeah, that's true.
They need funding to build their data set because their data set isn't big enough, allegedly. So
well, look at the paragraph you read. It says some UAP, and then it goes into the radio frequency. So we have to remember what they're saying in that paragraph I just read. Not all of them are.
There's different kinds.
Not all of them are RF, or they're able to track with the radio frequency.
Yeah, well,
I would skip this whatever this crap is. This trying to explain what this is.
They're just
read the other.
Well, I mean, they're just saying airborne clutter, natural atmosphere. That's self-explanatory. Then USG. It's important to know that term because they're using it. Some UAP observations could be attributable to developments and classified programs by U.S. entities. So we're talking aerospace, clearly. We are unable to confirm, however, that these systems accounted for any of the UAP reports we collected. So they can't confirm that it was any of our aerospace companies. That's what that section would be. Foreign adversary systems. Some UAP may be technologies deployed by China, Russia, another nation, or a non-governmental entity. Wait, so which section would that go into? Some UAP may be technologies deployed by China, Russia, another nation, or a non-governmental entity. Wouldn't that be aerospace, though? I'm confused.
Maybe they're trying to... Hell, I don't know. But I tell you what, though, I see something interesting in this next one. In the other...
Oh, yeah, that's aliens section. There. Mm-hmm.
I see something pretty interesting if you want to read it.
Although most of the UAP described in our data set probably remain unidentified due to limited data or challenges to collection processing or analysis, we may require additional scientific knowledge, right, to successfully collect on, analyze, and characterize some of them. In other words, these dudes are whooping our butt and we have no idea how they work. And so we're going to have to figure out the science behind their technology before we can even study them, right?
They answer our question in the last sentence. It's going to be cool. Keep going.
We would group such objects in this category pending scientific advances that allowed us to better understand them. The UAPTF intends to focus additional analysis on the small number of cases where a UAP appeared to display unusual flight characteristics or signature management. So
that's it.
Signature management is what then? Cloaking?
They're
Cloaking.
leaving us. They're leaving a radio frequency signature. Straight up.
All right.
That's
Small number of
telling
cases where a UAP appeared to display unusual flight characteristics. So, like it shot into space or took off at 90 degrees, way faster than we can, or signature management. So, phasing in and out of 3D. That's what signature management is.
Right.
Phasing out of this dimension.
Because signature management is separated from
flight characteristics.
Like flight characteristics. They're not lumping it together. It's either or is what they're saying. So either they were flying like crazy or they left a signature. That's two different things. So they're saying or. They didn't say and, they said or.
Hey,
Foil. Go ahead.
I just want to say hi to Foil. See you're out there. See you out
What's
there.
What's up, Loyal?
What's going on, man? So yeah, Hinkershill Ingersoll is talking about throwing up 5.6 hertz, 336 RPM, maybe 1/10 of man-made electric-powered craft, 2-pole plus sleep frequency. It just made me think of, so there's vortex physics too. Like a lot of people don't understand that. They don't understand that certain shapes create a vortex above them, and like this is something we're not taught at all. And so that has relevance to like the whole Great Pyramid and that discussion about how there would be certain signatures or certain frequencies at certain locations, largely having to do with what a number of factors with that location and that particular whatever item, whatever you want to call it, building, structure,
Joyful June has a great point. That's something that when we talk about radio frequency, I mean, we gotta certainly HARP would be in the conversation, right?
Right. Yeah, they do something. I may not technically understand how it works, but I'm gonna tell you, when they get done spraying the sky, and I don't know if it's HARP doing it, I'm assuming they hit it with something. It's some kind of frequency they hit it with. Those clouds that they spray, the chemicals, they hit it with something and it makes it go like that across the sky. I noticed because they do it every morning, early in the morning.
I just wonder, we've had HARP for years.
Yeah.
If we've been, playing around with radio frequencies and the manipulation of it, I mean, certainly that would lend me to believe that we know if they're giving us this little Easter egg here, this gold nugget here, we know they know a lot more. If they're saying radio frequency signatures are left, they obviously are going to know a lot more.
Nat Handy just gifted us a cookie and says stealth fighters have been cloaking for years. Yeah, I heard a whistleblower not too long ago saying that he was asked or was part of a group that was flying them with their minds, and this was in like the late 80s, I think. Flying stealth fighters with their minds in the 80s.
Yeah, well, I don't know about all that, but everything I've ever flown that was remote control or anything like that, I've crashed. So that wouldn't be me.
Well, it wasn't like in a normal project. We're talking like weird Area 51 stuff.
I know. I'm just making a stupid joke.
Yeah. Everything all right, so with your mind, you crashed.
Well, yeah, because I was controlling my fingers. All right, so let's.
You fly things with your mind, White Hat?
Maybe I do.
What do you fly with your mind, White Hat?
Sometimes I throw French fries across the room with my mind. All right, so let's go. Okay. UAP threaten flight safety and possibly national security.
And possibly.
UAP pose a hazard to safety of flight and could pose a broader danger if some instances represent sophisticated collection against U.S. military activities by a foreign government or demonstrate a breakthrough aerospace technology by a potential adversary.
I think they're mad, White Hat, because my internet connection just got unstable. That never happens.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think. Whoops. I think I made them mad. Oh well, continue.
Ongoing aerospace or airspace, not aero, ongoing airspace concerns. When aviators encounter safety hazards, they are required to report these concerns. So, in other words, they've been reporting concerns of UAPs longer than before 2004. So that's what, so you just step in a bucket there. Thanks. Depending on the location, volume, and behavior of hazards during incursions on ranges, pilots may cease their test and or training and land their aircraft, which has a deterrent effect on reporting. That is a load of crap. That's a load of crap. This is basically saying that some of the reporting on these UFOs, UAPs, whatever, didn't take place because they were like, oh crap, I got to hurry up and land because this is screwing up my thing. Whatever, dude. Bullet point, the UAPTF has 11 reports of documented instances in which pilots reported near misses with a UAP. Okay, so.
Yeah, but what defines a near miss? Like, because the spaceship was going to crash into you, or you were going to crash into them, or like, I'm curious.
Well, they probably were close enough where they were like, it was a, excuse my language, an oh shit moment. Oh, your beep. What was that? Oh no, Jeff. Dude, circle around. Let's try to get thing. No, man, let's just go back to the base, man. Let them know. I ain't saying nothing about this, man.
Right.
We report this. What do we say?
I wonder if they chase them. Like if I was,
I bet you they do.
If I was flying a fighter jet and like a UFO like buzzed me, I'd be like, "It's on,
kidding?
Dude."
I bet you they do. I guarantee you that even the little videos that they've put out, they're all like, woohoo, we got it on. Look at there it is. They go after like the Tic Tac, and we were talking about the paint on the Tic Tac and all that
standard government paint.
Standard government white paint.
Mm-hmm. Standard government white paint.
Yeah, I've been up close to a drone, and before they decorated it, the one that I saw, it was standard issued white paint.
How little was it?
Government white paint.
What size was it?
It's about the size of a car.
Okay, so yeah, that's kind of it just flew around by itself. Maybe there was no friend. Maybe there was no friends in my ship.
Well, the one that I'm talking about was, it had wings, and it was the kind you see on the news all the time.
Oh, okay, so it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't using propulsion that is not known.
No, but it sure did have that government issued white paint.
Had government issued. Did it have little propellers? Like little drone propellers, the size of a car.
No, it had a little jet in the back, a little jet plane with wings and stuff.
I wonder if we have little drone spaceships.
And what's crazy is where I saw it. I was actually on another plane when I saw this. Yeah.
Let's see. Due diligence. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. Says they do chase them. Every country that have fighter aircraft chase them. Right? Like I would do that, and it's me, right? If I was a dude and I had all that testosterone, I'd be like, I'm chasing.
Yeah, but see now they have these AI, and they have these sensors able to detect their signatures. Now they're not so far away, it seems.
This has been an interesting, just going through this line by line and trying to decode it. This feels like the old days, White Hat.
I know, right? But the interesting thing, that used to be my job before I got into the type of work I'm doing now. I used to take documents like this and tear them apart for the government. So that was my job. I was in policy. So
Well, you're the perfect person to have as co-hosting this today with me. Then
I would listen.
help me
I
decode
would,
the document.
dude. I would put a beat down on this contractor that wrote this crap. I would be like, listen, you're gonna have. I would be like, I'm sending this back to you. You have 72 hours to get together with your team and come up with something better, and get that probably word the hell out of my document.
Right? I'm mad about the probably too. Hey Scott, good to see you. Yeah, I'm pissed about that too, dude. Like, how are you gonna put probably?
What up, dude?
All right. So where were we on here? Is it my paragraph or your paragraph?
Oh, I have this one last one, I think, or did I already? Yeah, let me read this last one. Potential national security challenges. We currently lack data to indicate any UAP are a part of a foreign collection program. No crap. So, okay. So they're basically contradicting themselves right here. They're saying, oh, it could be this and it could be that. But then it says, we don't have the data to tell you about that it's, the Chinese. That's because it's not. Your aerospace engineer on your team in the Pentagon said it was not. Stop lying. We continue to monitor for evidence of such programs given the counterintelligence challenge they would pose, particularly as some UAP have been detected near military facilities or by aircraft carrying the USG's most advanced sensor systems. Okay, breaks. So they're saying that they were specifically detected close to the aircraft. Okay, so look at here. They're telling you right now on this last sentence that these sensors are not just on the ground. They're carrying them on the aircraft. And so that to me tells me that they're surveilling our airspace with these sensors constantly.
What about the satellites?
Can the satellites pick up the RF, this RF signature that far away? I don't know. They may not be equipped for that. I don't know. Maybe they can. Maybe they don't.
I could ask Space Force. I really need to do that. I need to put together the whole list, and no one's asked them, and they have a press office. I bet you nobody calls over there. I'm gonna eventually, when I get the time, I'm gonna call over there and just ask them questions. Maybe nobody's asked them and see what they say. You never know.
Shoot, get an interview with the mofos. Bring them on.
Like, I'm gonna ask them about the satellites. I mean,
but look at that last sentence though. That tells you right there. Aircraft carrying the most advanced sensor systems. So what they're telling you is they have bases that have this new upgraded sensors. They also that is right.
Satellites.
They don't consider satellites aircraft.
They don't,
right?
But they're constantly using the word aircraft in all that Space Force articles I read. They're constantly using the word aircraft, but yet they don't ever say what the aircraft is. Like it's like confusing. Like what?
Yeah, due diligence may help me out on this one. So if they have something like JSTARS that surveil our airspace. There's some of the planes have like the big disc looking things on top of them.
Yeah.
And whatever. I would guess that they're continually monitoring airspace. They have these upgraded sensors. They figured out that they can find these jokers because they're leaving a radio frequency signature. And that's how the Chinese are finding them too.
I just checked on it, Miracle Girly. We're still on DLive. Everything should be okay over there, I think.
Yeah, I can see you on DLive.
Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, everybody can, huh? Whoops.
Yep.
Probably be good to hit this button, too. What am I doing? Okay. Where were we? Sorry, I got distracted. Squirrel.
No, I see your Google page. You're Googling it?
No.
Google.
We should have the document back up. Yeah, it just took a second.
All right, cool. So go ahead. I mean, so that answers another question right there. So they not only are they on bases, they're airborne, they're in our airspace with these sensors right now.
Thumper Rose says pseudo profound BS. She's right. We went over this last night in Space Force News. It was the most appropriate article. So pseudo profound. That's what we're dealing with here. The art of BS. So, okay, where were we on here?
So go down. It is explaining UAP will require analytic collection
Okay.
and resource investment. Oh, here's the money. Here's the money grab.
Standardize the reporting, consolidate the data, and deepen the analysis. In line with the provisions of the Senate Report 1116-233 accompanying the IAA for FY 2021, that's fiscal year, right? Yeah. The
Yep.
UAPTF's long-term goal is to widen the scope of its work to include additional UAP events documented by a broader swath of USG personnel and technical systems in its analysis. As the data set increases, the UAPTF ability to employ data analytics to detect trends will also improve. The initial focus will be to employ artificial intelligence machine learning algorithms to cluster and recognize similarities and patterns in features of the data points. As the database accumulates information from known aerial objects such as weather balloons, high altitude or superpressure balloons, and wildlife, machine learning can add efficiency by pre-assessing UAP reports to see if those records match similar events already in the database. The UAPTF has begun to develop interagency analytical and processing workflows to ensure both collection and analysis will be well informed and coordinated. The majority of UAP data is from U.S. Navy reporting, but efforts are underway to standardize incident reporting across U.S. military services and other government agencies to ensure all relevant data is captured with respect to particular incidents and any U.S. activities that might be relevant. The UAPTF is currently working to acquire additional reporting, including from the U.S. Air Force, and has begun receiving data from the Federal Aviation Administration. Although, okay, go ahead.
So let's, there's a little bit to digest here. So am I right in that they just admitted they're using AI?
Yep.
Okay. Also, what this is, so you got to look at it like this. It's what the military and different agencies have. I mean, it's like this in different countries. They have platforms they will use. Where they can put data, they can upload data to a platform that's shared across different agencies. So all they're telling you is what they've done is they're taking something like, I don't know, say that they're using Skype or Teams, or say they're using SharePoint or some sort of platform, whatever that is, I don't know. What they're doing is they're saying, okay, all these different branches and all these different places are going to start uploading the information to one place. And they're going to start, I guess, which they usually, if they're telling us now, they've already been doing it for a while, but that just means all the information goes to one place. Who's over that all the information and how, because that information can be manipulated. So if it's all going to one place and it's leaving their hands, you have one group that is responsible for the information. Who's policing them?
So is it Skynet against our space friends, pretty much?
No, I just think you got a situation, I think, where you have to insert politicians at one point. They're going to want to see stuff, and they're going to want stuff to come out a certain way, so they can control the narrative and control the information and control everything. It'll be classified. It'll be, the amount of information that gets out will be decided by politicians.
They're saying out there in the chats, Thumper Rose is saying Space Force and Joint Cyber Command.
I don't know if they're going to be over it or not. I don't know. I mean, maybe they are. That would be cool. I guess
think
if Space Force would be.
You would think Space Force's job would be to collect this data.
Yeah, and two, some believe that the beginning of the letter 17 phenomenon came from Joint as well, which I actually do too. But because when you look at Navy intelligence and stuff like that, they're a big part of that. Well, I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but they're letting us actually know a little bit more than I thought they were. I mean, I when I first kind of skimmed through this, I don't know. If you read through the lines, some of this is fluff and BS, but they're throwing in little nuggets here, and I don't know that they mean to.
How do you? Well, we're just decoding it. You know what I mean? If you jump into anything like that and and you tear it apart, you're gonna find indicators. Especially if you're, you can tune into your intuition. You're gonna find indicators which will take you in various directions, which will help you figure things out. That's just that. There was something I was gonna say about. It's got me thinking about something.
Sorry, I'm like yapping like crazy.
No, you're fine. I thought I was down, went like, and then I lost it because I was listening to what you were saying. I totally forgot what it was. Maybe it'll come back.
So you're on that first bullet point.
I am. Although USAF data collection has been limited historically, the USAF began a 6-month pilot program in November 2020 to collect in the most likely areas to encounter UAP, and is evaluating how to normalize future collection, reporting, and analysis across the entire Air Force. So, the most likely areas to encounter one. What are those, and how do they know?
I guarantee you there's certain areas where they pick up that radio frequency on the regular. I bet you.
That has to be what they mean by that.
They have hotspots.
And then evaluating how to normalize future collection, reporting, and analysis across the entire Air Force. I mean, that's kind of loaded. That could mean a number of different things, really. But okay, the FAA captures data related to UAP during the normal course of managing air traffic operations. The FAA generally ingests the data when pilots and other airspace users report unusual or unexpected events to the FAA's air traffic organization. It used to be if you were an airline pilot and you saw a UFO or it buzzed your plane or something happened and you went to report it, they would fire you. You would lose your job. Pilots just stopped doing it because they were risking their job by even reporting it. So, I mean, it's great that now pilots are encouraged to report it and we can actually have a conversation about it. But again, this stuff has been going on for a really long time. Where are all those reports from the pilots before the green light was given? You know what I mean? Where's that data set?
Something to think about, though. Now that the information is being collected and put somewhere, the question then is your information considered classified? If that information is going to, if they end up classifying this information or they say it's sensitive, does that actually keep a person from speaking out, because at that point that information is the property of the U.S. government?
Okay, so let's say you don't just see a UFO. Let's say a little guy gets out and waves to you, shakes your hand, whatever, talks to you telepathically. Let's say it goes beyond just a UFO sighting. That kind of, are we free to report things like that now? Or no? Are we crazy if a little guy gets out of the ship?
Not if you are an employee of the U.S. government.
Wait, say that again, White Hat. Not
you. This document is only for government and military. This is only for reporting from FAA or U.S. Air Force, Navy, or intelligence. This report. So this information. So when you look at this, it says, in addition, the FAA is going to be sending their information to this UAPTF, this task force. Mm-hmm. That means that the information that they have is going to end up being sensitive.
Right.
So they're not really going to be able to put it out everywhere.
Yeah, even if they're collecting it, they don't have to tell us any of it.
Well, they could lose their jobs.
Well, I mean,
Definitely something to think about. So I mean, that to me, that just, you know,
Yeah, it's
that
one thing to have a law on something, it's another thing to have a stigma. But they even mention that in this report is the social
right.
stigma. To have a stigma to the point where, you know, you don't report stuff because you know what'll happen if you do.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, you could be court-martialed. I mean, you could be whatever whatever they decide the. I mean, of course, if you're, one of the Clintons, it wouldn't, that doesn't, work for you. But for us regular people, if you're in the U.S. government and you give out classified information, I mean, there's consequences to that. All right. So, did we read the expand collection yet?
No, I don't think I read the last part. Did
right,
I? Okay. The last
I'll
bullet
get
point.
into. Oh, I thought you read the last bullet point. Oh, go ahead.
Oh well, we've been on here an hour and a half already.
Bro, what page are we on? We're on page what?
Whoa. I've been just lost in the, you know.
Hey, that's how digs are, man. You remember?
I know, because we're sitting here mentally processing each sentence and trying to so we just have been.
Yeah. People in the chat are saying Texas Q Patriot says, I love that we are going over this and dissecting it. Hey, me too. I'm with you.
Okay, the last bullet point. I'll finish the last bullet point and then go on from there. Is that cool? Okay.
Yeah,
in addition, the FAA continuously monitors its systems for anomalies, generating additional information that may be of use to the UAPTF. The FAA is able to isolate data of interest to the UAPTF and make it available. The FAA has a robust and effective outreach program that can help the UAPTF reach members of the aviation community to highlight the importance of reporting UAP.
Mm-hmm. All right, expand collection.
Word salad, dude. It's so much.
Dude, yeah, absolutely. Basically, I mean, they're just saying FAA they see a lot of crap, and they're going to have to report it and send it to this task force, to this collection. Expand collection. The UAPTF is looking for novel ways to increase collection of UAP cluster areas. See, they're telling you right there, cluster areas. So there are areas that they're saying that they cluster together, that they're serious hotspots.
Which they know of because of picking them up with radio frequency sensors.
Correct.
Yeah.
U.S. forces are not present as a way to baseline or the standard UAP activity and mitigate the collection bias in the data set. One proposal is to use advanced algorithms. So this is what they're telling you right here. They're telling you that they are trying to eliminate human bias, and they only want to use electronic means in order to collect the information. That's what they're telling you, because people have a bias.
That makes sense. I mean,
yep.
It makes sense.
One proposal is to use advanced algorithms to search historical data captured and stored by radars. Mm. The UAPTF also plans to update its current interagency UAP collection strategy in order to bear relevant collection platforms and methods from the DoD and I got to reread that. Wait a minute. The UAPTF also plans to update its current interagency UAP collection strategy, so their workflow, in order bring to bear relevant collection platforms and methods from the DoD and IC. Okay.
What does that mean?
All right, so what's happening is different DoD branches, different areas in DoD, they all have their own way of collecting all of this information. And what they're saying is they're going to have to situate their workflow, their data collection platform. They're going to have to situate it so that no matter what agency it is, whether it be DoD, IC, some sort of whatever, that it will be able to ingest the information. They're talking about their own platform here. So they're saying expand collection. Right now, there's only I think they said Navy and Air Force and FAA are the only ones that are a part of this platform that they've put together. What it's saying right here is there's other DoD and there's other areas in DoD and in IC that aren't on board yet. They're going to situate them so that way they'll have a way to send them the information to their platform.
White hat.
standardized platform.
You're really good at speaking pseudo-government BS.
Bro, what do you think I used to do
You
for a
are
living?
so good at it. Wow. You can
I-
interpret their
hey.
BS better than anybody.
I used to write this crap.
Oh.
All right. Go ahead. You want to do this one? You want me to do
Increase
it?
investment in research and development. Well, not if
Of
the
course.
word threat is in there. If the word threat is in there, we're gonna need you to read it. All right. Increase investment in research and development. The UAPTF has indicated that additional funding for research and development could further the future study of the topics laid out in this report. Such investments should be guided by a UAP collection strategy, UAP R&D technical roadmap, and a UAP program plan. So here's our key terms. I'll just move to those real quick. The report and UTF databases are the following defining terms. Unidentified aerial phenomena, UAP obviously, airborne objects not immediately identifiable. The acronym UAP, not immediately identifiable. So the things they're picking up with the RF, with the sensors.
Yeah. So
Right?
there'll be a spot.
Not immediately identifiable.
That's right.
But that could mean a couple of different things.
Well, so when you're done, let's go back up to that paragraph you just read up top.
Okay. The
About the
acronym
increases.
UAP represents the broadest category of airborne objects reviewed for analysis. UAP event, a holistic description of an occurrence during which a pilot or air crew witnessed or detected a UAP. A UAP incident, a specific part of the event. A specific part of the event. UAP report, documentation of a UAP event to include verified chains of custody and basic information such as the time, date, location, and description of the UAP. UAP reports include range Fowler reports and other reporting. Do you have that range Fowler definition handy?
Yeah, actually, it's in the footnote right there on the same page.
It is? Oh. The U.S. Navy aviators define range Fowler as an activity or object that interrupts pre-planned training or other military activity in a military training area or restricted airspace.
Yeah, they made sure they talk about that because, and that was that was discussed by the ex-task force chief, and that they do go to our nuclear sites and shut them down. They're very curious right before there's a planned military training, whatever. But it has me thinking. When they talk about military training exercises, we're only thinking about what we know. What if some of these exercises are some sort of military classified something we have, and they know that they're around all the time because they're curious about what it is we're doing. Say we reverse engineered something. They know that there will be a cluster of them, and they basically what they're saying here is they even have a name for it. They always come in and screw with them right before they're about to do a training exercise. A training exercise doesn't have to be a bunch of military folks running around doing pull-ups. A training exercise can be a test flight. A training exercise can be what Bob Lazar used to talk about. He'd take his buddies out there drinking and watching them reverse engineer and do flights out there in the desert. And so I'd imagine they would certainly be curious about that, and those would be one of those hotspots for sure. Clustered event
or
clustered
facilities which have reverse engineered vehicles, or aerospace facilities, which I'm sure I've always wanted to do that too. Man, if I didn't have to worry about like funds, I would camp out at some of those places. Just camp out and just watch.
I tell you, Michael Hill, he's one of my good buddies. He's in the chat. He's actually about to hopefully buy up a whole bunch of land in Arizona, and there's some hills and all these other things. We've been talking about it. We're going to make we're gonna make it where there's no light pollution. We're gonna maybe set up some sort of like camping spot where we can all go out there and just stare at the sky. And we talked
That'd be
about
awesome.
yeah, just this cool stuff I've got. So yeah, that might be a cool idea. I don't know. I have to win the lottery and help them out, but
Right.
but yeah, man, this is so. I mean, there's a lot here if you, I guess, if you dissect it as we are dissecting now. All right. I'm
I
just
mean,
glancing.
I'm glad we did this because, see, it would have been easy for, I mean, we were both just like, and it would have been easy to just blow this off and be like, there's nothing in it, forget it, da, da, da. But the fact that we went through here and took it apart, we have figured out a few things that we didn't have figured out before, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good that we did this, you know?
All right. So going on page 7, going back to that increased investment in research and development spot. I just wanted to look at that paragraph. So it says the UAPTF has indicated that additional funding for research and development could further the future study of topics laid out in this report. Such investments should be guided by UAP collection strategy, UAP R&D, technical roadmap. All right, UAP R&D technical roadmap is reverse engineering technology.
Oh, word.
And then what they say in the first sentence is the task force has already told them that they want funding for research for this R&D for this all of this research and development, and also they're wanting to up the funding for everything they've spoken about in this report, which is their surveillance, signature identification, and AI.
So give us money and maybe eventually we'll start to turn over some of this. Or not come clean about it, but turn it over. We already know what they're going to do. They're going to say they're going to say they just made it as a result of this.
I think they're wanting to expand this, but here's the thing. This information that we've sort of I guess kind of figured out by reading this, I'd imagine the Space Force has this already. They know this, they have this, they've been doing this, they already have the funding. Why does $1 trillion some odd dollars disappear from the Pentagon? And then, several years later, you have the Space Force that was really already, a thing. Right. Space Force comes up, now they're, a big deal. And if you look at their verbiage and and the way that they speak, there's no way they don't have this information already.
Because they're trying to tiptoe without stepping in a puddle. Because getting to the eventual goal, having just the whole thing, that secret space program thing and disclosure and how that's going to play out, like it appears to me, they're carefully tiptoeing so they don't step into a big puddle that they can't control. You know what I mean? That once they do it, they're soaked, and that's that.
Well, the good news is this is preliminary.
Right.
This report.
All right.
So bring it on. Bring it on, man. I'm ready for more stuff.
Yeah, and I guess I just really hope that, like, no matter what they come out with, what little it is, whatever, we can always, hope and pray for the optimal timeline. But whatever it is, like, I just hope people will start to come forward, like, because all it takes is the right couple of people doing that, and the door gets forced open, and then it becomes a flood, and then they can't be controlled anymore, Or maybe on some level, our space friends, I don't know, but I think really we think it's up to us, this whole disclosure thing. We think, I'm speaking as in the government, what governmental entities they think, but really it appears to me they're not really in control of in other words, if this whole disclosure thing, if our space buddies that don't want us to have a nuclear war were to decide, okay, that's enough, then they would do that. But I just think that they can't. I don't know. This is just my opinion, but I don't think they can until we fight the evil forces on our planet get rid of them and start demanding transparency for ourselves as human beings, as sovereign human beings, and start demanding transparency from our government. I just don't think that they can, like they're not allowed to or whatever. So, but ultimately, like I said, it's I think they're more in control than we are, but I think that they have a directorate that they're following that they will not break. No matter what. I mean,
I agree. I think that when you look at this document and you look at where it's coming from, and then you put it in perspective, we're talking about countries here.
Yeah.
We're talking about, I mean, certainly there's got to be something there that we obviously don't know about. And as you're speaking and I'm thinking about everything, I think what'll happen is they'll get paid. And then at that point, they'll have to answer to an inspector general that will basically be like, hey, what are you doing with this money? Congress at that point will be able to go in and look and see what they're doing with it. And they'll probably ask for another report.
And do you think between now and then, all of a sudden a spaceship will crash? That's never happened before. A spaceship crashed. We got it. Now we're looking at it. We're trying to figure out how it works. I mean, how else are they going to just, like, what other narrative are they going to use without coming clean about already having it and already have, What do you think?
I don't know. I think it's going to take a little bit more thinking based on this information. For me personally, this radio frequency information they've told us is going to end up being bigger than most people think. If anybody that is about ECETI or anybody out there that are in these places, if you're smart enough, if you're technically savvy enough to put together something with radio frequency that when you see something, you measure or detect these radio frequencies, you find out that information, and then you start digging and finding out what else we need to know. Because to me, that to me is that slither that I was talking about.
That's the important thing in this whole 9 pages. That was the one nugget. That was the one nugget. And you know what? Anybody can go, everybody's got different opinions about this, whether you should or shouldn't do. I'm a firm believer that if you're putting up spiritual protection and your intent is pure and you have to have spiritual tools and protection and all that type of stuff. But if you're going out and having your own, not guided through another person that perhaps maybe isn't trustworthy, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you go out on your own with a group of people who have the same pure intent just to communicate and understand who our visitors are and so forth, that would be in my opinion, this would be the location and the time to start doing this kind of work. If they're okay with it, they'll interact with you. They're going to know your intent. They're going to know what you want to do. And if they're okay with it, they'll still manifest and show up and interact the way that they do. And then we can start actually gaining information on that topic and sharing it with others. So that would be the safe way to do that, in my opinion. I
totally get you. I mean, I can completely see that. You don't want to go out there with an a-hole that's going to throw rocks and whatever. I mean, I joke around, but one thing, this report does say is they know of clustered areas, known clustered areas. They know about them. They've documented them, and they know where they are. Did they tell us where? They didn't tell us where they are.
When a portal opens, okay, that would be a location where there would be clusters and vortex areas, i.e. James Gilliland's ranch is a good example where there's a location where there's tons of ships all the time.
That is a question I would ask whoever it is giving information on this report. Where are those spots referred to in this document?
Well, it's my understanding too that some of these gates, when they open, whatever you want to call it, a stargate, a portal, whatever, some of these are natural Earth portals, and we don't know where they're going to open, but I guarantee you they do. The military knows where they're going to open and when.
Yeah, but they say in the report here that they have like hotspots.
But
they know where they are. These particular ones. I mean, yeah, there
they
might
know
be
how to
other
track
stuff,
'em.
but yeah, the radio
don't.
they're leaving these radio frequency signatures either before or after or during their while they're there. They're using that information. They're putting these sensors out to detect it, and they're using AI to put the human element out of it because AI is quicker. And to locate it.
Matt Smith says ley lines crossing. That would be a good place to start. If you don't have the technology like they do to pick up where these locations are, that would be a great place to start, is track the ley lines. Because there's going to be vortex energy areas along those ley lines, and that would be a great place to start. Other than just asking them to interact so that you can get data, which I don't know if the Space Friends will do that or not, but ley lines is definitely a starting point for that.
But we do know that they're telling us the certain military facilities are definitely hotspots.
Nuclear, where there's nuclear weapons, clearly. They monitor that, so they're around.
I think they're only around them when they are firing them up for testing.
Yeah.
Because then they shut them down, and that would be my guess. But I bet money. Wherever we have spots where we're reverse engineering some of this stuff, I bet you that's where some of them are.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, guys, go dig into where the aerospace places are.
So
start
Bill's
stalking
Mafia,
them.
Bill's Mafia says, what would cause the radio frequency signals they're detecting? Well, we had mentioned possibly the cloaking aspect of it, their propulsion, their gravity manipulation. Maybe there's something along the lines of that. We don't know. We don't know, but I bet you there's some engineers out there that could figure that out.
But I see digs here. Like, I see a starting point here for people to start within their own groups and start doing digs, and a starting point here for seeking more information from the Space Friends and seeing if they're willing to help out in that regard. Like, they're not going to, I'm saying they're not going to directly interfere, but if they know your intent and they know it's to get information and build one of the, and they show up and start phasing in and out in front of you, well, you'll know that they're cool with it. And, so we went through quite a few things that people can start doing to try to gather more information and start making a difference on like a ground level when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because that's really how we get somewhere, is taking our power back and starting to figure some of these things out on our own and build technologies and communicate with them without having to be told it's okay to, or them land for that to happen. Like, there's ways you can communicate with them now. So, and they do communicate. So, ley lines, vortex areas,
Well, I'm with you 100%. This is going to be a huge dig now. To me, this opens up a small little spot that we can all crawl through and start.
Yep.
And that's right, Daphne. This is going to be some homework up in her.
I didn't even... Oh, and you know what I just thought of? So when I got those TR3Bs on tape at Contact in the Desert, so I never saw those. Nobody saw them. Nobody could see them, okay? So I didn't even see them. I was taping an ET ship that was showing itself. I was taping it, right? And it was my cell phone that picked it up. I didn't physically see it. It was
Remember that video I sent you the other day?
Smartphone. It was the smartphone that picked it up, and it was I had an LG G6, and those are the ones with the little RF.
Remember that video I sent you where I said I couldn't see it on my
the
little dancing thing or whatever? I mean that's probably not the same thing, but the idea is the same. So the phone would be able to, would a phone?
The phone might pick it up if you can't see it and it's cloaked. But it might have only been that specific phone because of the reader on that G6 model.
So what cameras can pick up specific radio frequencies? Is there one?
Okay, we need to do a dig on this stuff, you guys, because I don't have all these answers. I'm not an expert in electronics, and I don't have a degree in, I study all this stuff, you know what I mean? But I don't have degrees in this stuff. So people that have more knowledge, let's get together and figure it out and
Well, you also too, you
decode.
can look at the words in the verbiage here.
Mhm.
They're using sensors. They're not using optics.
I had no idea that I had no idea that incident would come in handy today. All these things that have happened to me in the past have all given me little pieces to the puzzle in the future. So bizarre. So bizarre.
Awesome sauce, man.
Yeah. Super cool. Okay, so on that note, I know we're coming up on 2 hours right now, White Hat, and you got a family to get back to. So this has been, I never imagined that it would be this much fun going through that crappy pseudo BS report. Almost said it.
Right?
But it has been.
But we got more work to do though.
Oh, there's lots of work to do. This almost even inspires me to do like a live dig with the peeps soon, you know? It's going to be a while before I can do it, but because this would be something we could do that we wouldn't really get, you know, that we could do.
Well, I don't think we're going to see anything else until they get paid.
No.
I think you could pretty much, when you find out when that money gets appropriated,
Yeah.
I can almost bank on it. Soon after that is when we might be able to get something else.
Right.
Not
so
before-
don't
not
hold your
before.
breath and start doing the work, guys. Is essentially the point out of this whole show, I think. Is we've got enough little tidbits to start figuring some things out on our own. We can be doing that in the meantime, and you know. And Do said he brought up about the video I took. So if you go to my channel on 1 foot in 5D on YouTube, it's shadow banned, so you got to type it all the way in. You got to type 1, then space, then foot FOOT, and then space, and then capital N, and then the number 5, and then capital D all together. Just a space between foot or 1 and foot, and 5D all together, caps. If you type that into YouTube, it'll take you to my YouTube channel. And if you go way back into the beginning when I first started, you'll find 2 YouTube videos there. One is a compilation of the ET ship I was taping, and the 2 TR3Bs. It's very hard to make out the second TR3B. You really got to pay attention to see it, but you could see the first one clearly. And then there's another video where that one event is isolated for anybody that wants to check that out. But T. Roy Cook said, loved having a White Hat on with Alara. Thanks, T. Roy. Appreciate your support. Yeah, I loved hanging out with White Hat. So this has been great hanging out with you. I think I feel so much better. You know, it's weird. I was like almost bitter about it before, and now I almost feel better because it's like, I feel like we did something. At least we took it apart. You know, we found something. We found some sort of clue, some place to go with this and to try to do something.
You, we need to shoot another email to Johan and be like, dude, let's stop with these radio frequencies, man. Hook a brother up.
Right. There's some people I can talk to that'll know. There's some people I can talk to that'll have answers for me. Anybody you guys know engineers, talk to them. Try to get answers to the questions we don't have the answers to try to figure out what we can do from here to detect these things.
I've had a great time though, Alara. I really have. This has been really cool. Yeah,
this has been great. White Hat, I knew it would be. I didn't know it'd be this fun though. This was a lot of fun. Yeah, so what do you have going on this week? Coming up, what's happening?
Righty, well, I officially am getting my foster son this week for the first time.
Yes.
So I've already got it planned. I've got to take him so when I went to court this last time around, they put him in a jacket with no shirt, pants that didn't fit him, and his hair looked like crap. They didn't take care of him. You know, it was just very frustrating for me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go shopping and buy him some clothes, get him a haircut, do all that. So, you know, if y'all want to do a little donation in the Cash App, I wouldn't be mad at you because, good Lord, the kid needs so much. And I'm talking about food and clothes, all of that stuff. And I can probably handle the food. That's not a big deal. But, I mean, the poor kid it looked like a members only jacket. And he had no shirt under it. And this was in court. And so anyway, so I get him I get him this week, and I feel very blessed about it. And I'm gonna try to have him on Wednesday night and let him speak to everyone.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, please let's show White Hat some love so he can really take care of his son here and get him all straightened up. Please show White Hat some love. He does a lot for this community very selflessly, and I would really, really appreciate it. I tried to. Okay, sorry. Go ahead and finish. You weren't done.
Oh no, I mean, oh well, one thing quick, due diligence. You cannot send me any money. You have to keep your money. That's the rules.
Yeah, dude's not allowed to send any.
That's right. Due diligence and I have an agreement. You can't send me anything, but prayers I will take. But that's it pretty much for me for the week. You know, just stuff I normally do. I mean, really my two main things I was looking forward to this week was being on here with you and doing this, and then seeing my son. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I have, and you know, that's exciting at least.
When's your next stream? Wednesday?
Well, I'll probably go on and do the music thing tomorrow on D Live.
Oh yeah.
White Hat Metal. Then Wednesday will be the prayer night, and you know, hopefully everything will work out with my foster son, and you know, I'll have him here like I planned. If not, you know, hey, it's been 12 months. You know, what do you do? But and then I take Fridays off now, so, and I let Gino and them kind of take over my spot. So that's pretty much it for me.
Okay, that's cool. There's a couple things I wanted to clarify real quick. So for those of you that are unaware who White Hat is awesome, and I don't know, what can you say about what you do, White Hat? I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm just
a guy.
He's just a guy with a channel in the South that kind of knows some stuff. And anyway, he has a great channel. He does streams usually 3 days a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. And he, on Tuesday nights, he does White Hat Metal, which is like kind of a dance party for us over on D Live. So come and check out White Hat if you haven't done so yet. And yes, I agree, we should do a fundraiser for his son. That would be wonderful. So if anybody is willing to coordinate that, that would be wonderful. Please hit me and let me know how we can get that set up. I tried to look at the gold pills just now to read them back, you guys, and it's not showing them for me. It's only showing the last two, which is what happened last night on Space Force News too. So I'm not able to access them. If I missed you during the chat reading your comment off or your gold pills, I apologize about that, but I can't. I just won't let me pull them up. All right, let me go ahead and release the lotto out here for everybody on Foxhole. Lotto has been released.
Woohoo!
Yeah, I love release the scratch, and that's fun. Okay, let me dump the chest over on D Live, and we can go ahead and
You're gonna do what?
Dump the chest. Does that sound weird? Yeah, I'm gonna dump the chest. All right, so I'm gonna dump the chest.
What did we call it? The other orgasmisms?
Oh, my shirt.
We were gonna make a
Oh, I did make it. You never seen it?
Dude, no.
Organism.
Organism. You know, I was a part of making that up. I mean, I need one.
You haven't seen the organism shirt? And I need a white hat. I need a White Hat fanny pack. This has got to happen. I need a White Hat fanny pack.
Trade.
And you need an organism shirt. So we got to make that happen, White Hat, because it's ridiculous we don't have any of each other's gear.
I know. Well, right? I mean, I can't really walk around with my own gear on, but
right. But I can walk around with your gear, and you can walk around with mine.
Correct.
Right. So, yeah, we got to make it happen. All right, the chest is out. The scratching has been released. I hope everybody got some gold pills. It has been absolutely wonderful hanging out with you guys tonight. Wonderful hanging out with you, White Hat. And I guess I will see you guys, what day is it? Monday? I will see you guys on Wednesday on Methods channel. Or no. Whoa, this week, actually, me and Brad switch days. So I'll be on with Methods on Thursday, 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern. And Bradness will be on with Methods on Wednesday. There's no Conspiracy Couch this week. Space Force News will be back on Sunday on my channel, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. And other than that, that's about it. This has been great, friends. Everybody have a lovely evening. Say goodnight, White Hat.
Good night, White Hat.
Good night, White Hat.
Love y'all.